The melody was soft, but it was sharp. It sounded like a flute made of bone playing in a graveyard. Gohan heard it in his sleep. He was floating in a dark ocean. The water was black and cold. Above him, the sky was red. He tried to swim up, but something was pulling his leg. He looked down. A hand made of grey smoke was holding his ankle. The hand had long claws. Gohan tried to kick it away, but his leg went right through the smoke. The smoke wrapped around him. It felt like wet spiderwebs. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then, two giant red eyes opened in the darkness below him. They were the size of moons. A voice whispered in his ear. It was a dry, raspy voice. It said, "The light casts the longest shadow." Gohan woke up with a gasp. He sat up in his bed. His heart was pounding against his ribs. Boom, boom, boom. He was sweating. The sheets were damp. He looked around the room. It was dark. The moon was shining through the window. Videl was sleeping next to him. She was breathing softly. Pan was in her crib across the room. Everything was quiet. Everything was safe. But Gohan did not feel safe. He felt a cold chill on the back of his neck. It was the same feeling he had in the dream. He rubbed his face with his hands. His hands were shaking a little bit. He looked at his palms. He remembered the power of the Super Saiyan Rose. It was a divine power. It was supposed to be pure. But the Grand Priest had warned him. He said that a bright light attracts bugs, and some bugs are monsters. Gohan got out of bed slowly. He did not want to wake Videl. He walked to the window. He looked out at the mountains. The world looked peaceful. The stars were twinkling. But Gohan could still hear that melody in his head. It was faint, like a memory of a song. He closed his eyes and tried to focus. He used his super hearing. He listened to the wind. He listened to the animals. He listened to the distant hum of the city. There it was, a very quiet, high-pitched sound. It was coming from the west. It was coming from the wasteland. Gohan put on his clothes. He did not put on his purple guy. He put on a simple tracksuit. He walked out of the bedroom and down the hall. He checked on Pan. She was sleeping with her thumb in her mouth. She looked like an angel. Gohan whispered a promise to her. He promised that no nightmare would ever touch her. He walked to the kitchen and drank a glass of water. The water was cold, but it did not wash away the bad feeling. He decided to go for a fly. He needed to clear his head. He walked outside and flew up into the night sky. The air was cool and crisp. He flew towards the west, towards the sound. Miles away, in a deep canyon where the sun rarely touched the ground, a spaceship sat. It was not a metal ship like freezers or coolers. It looked like it was made of old stone and leather. It looked like a giant beetle. A ramp extended from the bottom of the ship. A small figure walked down the ramp. It was Hoi, the wizard. He was short and hunched over. His skin was a wrinkled blue. He wore a red cloak that was torn at the edges. He held a staff with a glowing crystal on top. Hoi looked around the canyon. He sniffed the air. He smiled, revealing yellow, rotten teeth. He could smell it, the residue of divine energy. It was faint, but it was there. It smelled like sweet flowers mixed with lightning. Hoi chuckled. He said to himself that this planet was ripe. He reached into his robe and pulled out a box. It was a music box. It was red and gold, covered in strange symbols. He turned the key on the side of the box. Click, click, click. The music started to play. It was the same melody Gohan had heard. Hoi stroked the box like it was a pet. He whispered to the box. He told the sleeping monster inside to be patient. The hero was coming. The energy was coming. Hoi began to walk. He did not fly. He walked with a limp, tapping his staff on the rocky ground. He was heading towards the city. He needed an audience. He needed chaos. Chaos was the food of the demon. Gohan flew over the mountains. He saw nothing unusual. The canyon was dark. He did not see the ship because Hoi had used magic to hide it. Gohan stopped in midair. The melody had stopped. He looked around. Maybe it was just his imagination. Maybe he was just stressed from all the fighting. He had fought Bojack, Cooler, and a void beast all in 1 week. Maybe his mind was just playing tricks on him. He turned around and flew back home. He needed to rest. Tomorrow was a new day. The next morning, the sun rose bright and yellow. The birds were singing. Gohan sat at the table eating breakfast. Videl had made pancakes. Pan was covering her face in syrup. It was a happy scene, but Gohan was quiet. He was poking his pancakes with his fork. Videl noticed. She asked him if he was okay. Gohan looked up and smiled. It was a fake smile. He said he was fine. He said he was just thinking about his research paper. Videl knew he was lying. She knew him too well. She put her hand on his hand. She told him that he didn't have to carry the world on his shoulders every single day. She reminded him that Goku was there. Vegeta was there. Piccolo was there. He wasn't alone. Gohan nodded. He appreciated her words. But deep down, he felt that this new threat was specifically for him. The divine beast form was his burden. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was Bulma. Gohan picked it up. Bulma sounded annoyed. She asked Gohan if he was watching the news. Gohan said no. Bulma told him to turn on the TV right now. Gohan grabbed the remote and turned on the small TV in the kitchen. The news reporter was standing in the middle of West City. Behind her, there was a crowd of people. But the people were not moving. They were standing still, looking up at the top of a building. They looked like they were in a trance. Their eyes were open, but they were blank. The reporter said that a strange old man had appeared on the tower. He was playing a music box, and everyone who heard the music stopped moving. They just stood there. The police tried to stop him, but they fell asleep as soon as they got close. Gohan's eyes widened. It was the melody. He was not crazy. He dropped the phone. He told Videl he had to go. Videl nodded. She told him to be careful. Gohan ran outside. He blasted off into the sky. The sonic boom shook the house. He flew as fast as he could. The wind tore at his clothes. He reached West City in seconds. He hovered above the downtown area. It was eerie. Usually, the city was loud with cars and people. Now, it was silent. The cars were stopped in the middle of the street. The drivers were slumped over the steering wheels. Pedestrians were standing on the sidewalks like statues. Gohan looked at the tall tower in the center of the city. Standing on the very edge was the old wizard, Hoi. He was holding the music box high in the air. The music was playing loud now. It echoed off the glass buildings. It was a sad, haunting tune. Gohan felt a wave of dizziness. The music was magic. It was trying to put his brain to sleep. Gohan shook his head. He flared his Kai. A white aura surrounded him. He pushed the magic away. He flew down and landed on the roof of the tower, a few feet away from Hoi. Hoi stopped playing. He looked at Gohan. He smiled his crooked smile. He bowed low. He said he had been waiting for the great Saiyaman, or should he say, the divine beast. Gohan narrowed his eyes. He asked who the wizard was and what he was doing to the people. Hoi stood up. He looked sad. He wiped a fake tear from his eye. He said his name was Hoi. He was a traveler from a distant galaxy. He said he did not mean to hurt the people. He was just trying to get attention. He needed help. Desperate help. Gohan was suspicious. He kept his guard up. He asked what kind of help. Hoi held out the music box. He said that inside this box was a brave warrior, a hero named Tapion. Tapion had saved Hoy's planet from a great evil long ago, but in the process, Tapion was trapped inside the box by a dark spell. Hoy said he had been traveling the universe for 1,000 years, looking for someone strong enough to open the box, someone with a pure and powerful heart. He looked at Gohan with pleading eyes. He said he sensed a divine power in Gohan, a power that could break the spell. Gohan looked at the box. It felt old. It felt heavy. He could sense an energy inside. It was a strong energy, but it felt sad. It felt lonely. Gohan asked why the music made people sleep. Hoy explained that the music was a call for help. It drained a tiny bit of energy from the people to keep the warrior inside alive. He said he was sorry, but he had no choice. If he didn't play the music, Tapion would die. Just then, Goku and Vegeta arrived. They landed next to Gohan. Goku looked at the sleeping people. He scratched his head. He said this was weird. Vegeta looked at Hoy with disgust. He said the old man smelled like a rat. He told Gohan not to trust him. Hoy fell to his knees. He begged them. He said if they didn't help, the greatest hero of the South Galaxy would perish. He said Tapion was like a brother to him. He started to cry loudly. Goku felt bad. He looked at Gohan. He asked if they should try to open it. Goku said if there was a good guy trapped in there, they should help him. That's what heroes do. Gohan looked at the box again. He used his senses to look deeper. He felt two energies inside the box. One was bright and heroic. That must be Tapion. But underneath it, there was a shadow. A dark, cold pressure. It felt like the smoke from his dream. Gohan hesitated. He asked Hoy about the second energy. Hoy froze for a second. His eyes darted to the side. Then he spoke quickly. He said that was the remnants of the spell. The dark magic that trapped Tapion. That was why they needed Gohan's divine light. Only divine light could burn away the dark magic. Vegeta stepped forward. He said he would blast it open. He raised his hand. Hoy screamed no. He said a normal blast would kill Tapion. It had to be the specific divine energy Gohan possessed. It had to be precise. Gohan thought about it. If he didn't help, a hero might die. If he did help, he might release something bad. But Gohan was a protector. He could not walk away from someone in need. He decided to try, but he would be careful. Gohan told Hoy to place the box on the ground. Hoy did so with trembling hands. He backed away, grinning behind his hand. Gohan walked up to the box. He took a deep breath. He did not transform into the full Super Saiyan Rose. He just tapped into the energy. His eyes flashed silver for a second. A soft pink glow appeared around his hand. He touched the lid of the music box. The box reacted instantly. It started to shake. The symbols on the box glowed red. A beam of light shot up into the sky. It was a blinding white light. The light engulfed the entire tower. The music stopped. The box flew open. A massive surge of energy exploded outwards. It knocked Gohan, Goku, and Vegeta back. They slid across the roof. When the light faded, a figure stood in the center of the roof. It was a young man. He had orange hair in a mohawk. He wore strange clothes that looked like they were from a different time. He had a sword strapped to his back, and he was holding a flute, an ocarina. This was Tapion. He stood there, blinking in the sunlight. He looked confused. Then he looked at the open box on the ground. His face turned to horror. He looked at Gohan and the others. He screamed at them. He asked what they had done. He asked if they were fools. He said they had doomed them all. Hoy laughed. It was a loud, evil laugh. He danced around the roof. He shouted that it was a success. The seal was broken. Tapion fell to his knees. He clutched his head. He looked like he was in pain. He shouted for everyone to get away from him. He said it was coming. Gohan stepped forward. He asked who was coming. Tapion did not answer. He grabbed his ocarina and started to play a different melody. This one was fast and frantic. He was trying to build a barrier. A field of golden energy formed around him. But it was too late. A dark smoke began to pour out of Tapion's body. It was not coming from the box anymore. It was coming from him. The smoke formed a shape behind Tapion. It was a giant, ghostly shadow. It looked like the top half of a demon. It had a skull face and long horns. It roared. The roar was not a sound. It was a shock wave. It shattered the windows of every building in the city. The sleeping people on the streets below woke up screaming. Hoi cheered. He shouted the name Hirudegan. He said the phantom Majin was reborn. He commanded Hirudegan to destroy the city. The shadow monster looked at Hoi, then it looked at the city. It raised a ghostly arm and swiped at a building. The building crumbled like it was made of sand. Dust and debris filled the air. Goku shouted that they had to stop it. He went Super Saiyan immediately. He flew at the shadow. He punched it, but his fist went right through the smoke. The shadow was intangible. It was a phantom. Goku stumbled. The shadow laughed. It breathed a stream of fire at Goku. Goku dodged, but the heat singed his gi. Vegeta charged up a Gallic gun. He fired it at the monster. The purple beam passed through the monster and hit a building behind it. Vegeta cursed. He said physical attacks were useless. Gohan looked at Tapion. Tapion was playing the flute desperately. He was sweating. He was trying to pull the monster back into his body. Gohan realized that the monster was connected to Tapion. As long as Tapion was weak, the monster was free. Gohan flew over to Tapion. He asked how to stop it. Tapion stopped playing for a second to speak. He said the monster was incomplete. This was only the top half. The bottom half was still sealed. Somewhere else. But wait. Hoi began to laugh again. He pulled another small box from his robe. He threw it on the ground. Hoi said he had already released the bottom half while Gohan was sleeping. He had just been waiting to unite them. The ground shook violently. From the sewers of the city, a massive pair of legs erupted. They were giant, scaly legs with a long tail. They were solid. They were not smoke. The legs stomped through the streets, crushing cars and buses. The legs jumped up and landed on the tower. The smoke monster floated down and attached itself to the legs. A blinding flash of light occurred. When it cleared, the full beast stood before them. Hirudegan. He was enormous. He was golden and black. He had a hard exoskeleton like an insect. He had wings. He had a face that looked like a skull frozen in a scream. He let out a roar that shook the entire planet. The power rolling off him was immense. It felt ancient and evil. It felt like the opposite of divine energy. Gohan felt a strange sensation. His rose energy inside him was reacting. It was vibrating. It was almost like Hirudegan's energy was calling to it. Hoi shouted from the side. He explained that Hirudegan feeds on high-quality energy, and there is no energy higher than the energy of the Kais. That was why Hoi came to Earth. He used Gohan to break the seal, and now he would feed Gohan to the beast to make it invincible. Hirudegan looked at Gohan. He disappeared. He moved so fast he vanished. Gohan sensed the attack. He blocked to his left. Bam! Hirudegan's tail hit Gohan. Gohan flew across the city. He crashed into a park. He plowed through the dirt, leaving a long trench. He stood up, wiping dirt from his face. That hit was heavy. It was heavier than Cooler. It was heavier than Bojack. Goku and Vegeta attacked Hirudegan together. They were tiny compared to the monster. Goku threw a punch. Just before he hit, Hirudegan turned into smoke. Goku punched empty air. Then Hirudegan solidified behind Goku and punched him. Goku flew down and crashed into the street. Vegeta tried to blast him. Hirudegan vanished again. He appeared above Vegeta and stomped on him. Vegeta was driven into the roof of a building. This was Hirudegan's power. He could switch between solid and phantom instantly. When he attacked, he was solid. When he was attacked, he was smoke. It was an invincible defense. Gohan flew back to the fight. He saw his father and Vegeta getting beaten. He saw the city burning. He saw Tapion on his knees, crying because he had failed to contain the beast. Gohan knew he had to use his full power, but he was worried. Hoi said the beast fed on energy. If Gohan used the rose form, would it just make the monster stronger? He had to be careful. He had to be smart. He landed next to Tapion. He asked if the monster had a weakness. Tapion looked up. He said the monster is vulnerable only when it attacks. In that split second when it becomes solid to hit you, it can be hurt. But you have to be faster than instant. You have to strike exactly when it strikes. It was a counter-attack strategy. High risk, high reward. Gohan nodded. He stood up. He walked towards the giant monster. Hirudegan was busy destroying a bridge. He saw Gohan. He turned his massive body. He hissed. Gohan closed his eyes. He centered himself. He recalled the ocean. He recalled the calm. He ignited the divine power. Purple flames licked at his feet. The ground stopped shaking around him. Small rocks floated up. Gohan's hair turned pink. His eyes turned silver. The Super Saiyan Rose, the divine beast. The pressure of his aura pushed the smoke and dust away. The city became clear for a moment. Hirudegan roared. He sensed a delicious energy. He wanted it. He charged at Gohan. The monster was fast for its size. It swung a giant fist at Gohan. Gohan waited. He watched the fist coming. He saw the transition from smoke to solid matter. He saw the molecules hardening. Now, Gohan moved. He dodged the fist by a millimeter. He spun his body. He drove his elbow into Hirudegan's arm. Crack! The monster's exoskeleton cracked. Hirudegan shrieked. It hurt. It worked. Gohan didn't stop. Hirudegan swung his tail. Gohan ducked. He uppercut the tail. Another crack. Green blood sprayed out. Gohan was fighting with surgical precision. He was not wasting a single drop of energy. He was only using power at the exact moment of impact. This prevented the beast from draining him. Hoi was watching from a safe distance. He was pulling his beard. He was angry. This was not supposed to happen. The boy was too skilled. He was not just a brute. He was a martial artist. Hoi decided to interfere. He used his magic wand. He cast a spell on the civilians. He lifted a bus full of people into the air. He shouted at Gohan, "Look here, hero." Gohan looked. Hoi threw the bus at Hirudegan. Hirudegan opened his mouth to eat the bus. Gohan's eyes went wide. He had to save them. He abandoned his defense. He flew in front of the bus. He caught it. He set it down gently on the street. But this left him open. Hirudegan capitalized. He became solid and punched Gohan in the back with both hands. It was a hammer blow. Gohan felt his spine crack. He was smashed into the pavement. The crater was deep. Hirudegan didn't stop. He unleashed a stream of fire breath into the crater. The fire was magical. It burned the soul, not just the body. Gohan screamed. The pain was excruciating. Goku and Vegeta heard the scream. They pulled themselves out of the rubble. They saw Gohan in the fire. Goku shouted. He went Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken X20 immediately. He didn't care about his body. He flew at Hirudegan. He kamehameha'd the monster's face. The monster turned to smoke, but the blast dispersed the fire breath. Vegeta grabbed Gohan and pulled him out of the crater. Gohan was burned. His gi was gone on the top half. His skin was smoking, but his eyes were still fierce. He was not done. Tapion stood up on the tower. He saw the sacrifice Gohan made. He saw the bravery. He decided he could not just watch. He picked up his hero sword. He played the ocarina one last time. The melody paralyzed Hirudegan for a second. The monster froze. Tapion shouted to Gohan, "Use the sword. It is holy. It can cut through the smoke." Tapion threw the sword. It spun through the air. The blade shone with a white light. Gohan saw it. He stood up, ignoring the pain. He reached out and caught the sword. As soon as he touched the handle, the sword reacted to its divine ki. The blade turned pink. It extended, becoming a blade of pure energy. Gohan felt a connection to the weapon. It felt right. Hirudegan broke free from the paralysis. He was furious. He grew wings again. He flew up into the clouds. He wanted to destroy the whole planet from orbit. He started to charge a massive ball of negative energy. It was black and red. It was big enough to wipe out the solar system. Gohan looked up. He gripped the sword with both hands. He crouched. He poured all his remaining rose energy into the blade. The sword hummed. It sang a song of justice. Gohan launched himself into the sky. He flew straight at the monster. Hirudegan fired the energy ball. The black sphere descended. Gohan did not dodge. He swung the sword. Divine Dragon Slash. The pink energy blade sliced through the black sphere. It cut the attack in half. The energy dissipated harmlessly. Gohan continued his flight. He reached Hirudegan. The monster tried to turn into smoke, but the holy sword did not care. It cut spiritual bodies too. Slash. Gohan cut Hirudegan vertically down the middle. The monster screamed one last time. The two halves of the beast separated. They dissolved into golden dust. The dust rained down on the city. It was beautiful. The monster was gone. Hoi watched in disbelief. His ultimate weapon was destroyed. He tried to run. He tried to get back to his ship, but he bumped into something hard. He looked up. It was Trunks. Trunks from the future? No, it was Kid Trunks, but he looked very serious. And Goten was with him. They crossed their arms. "Going somewhere ugly?" Trunks asked. Goten giggled. They blasted Hoi with a combined energy wave. The wizard was vaporized. No more magic. Gohan floated down. He landed on the tower. The sword faded back to normal steel. He handed it back to Tapion. Tapion shook his head. He pushed the sword back to Gohan. He smiled. He said Gohan was the true hero. The sword belonged to him now. It had chosen him. Gohan looked at the sword. It was a beautiful blade. He nodded. He thanked Tapion. Tapion said his mission was over. The monster was dead. He could finally rest. He asked Bulma, who had arrived in a jet, if she could use the time machine to send him back to his own time, to the past, so he could save his brother Minotia. Bulma agreed. She loved science projects. Later that evening, the sun was setting. The city was damaged, but rebuilding had already started. The Z fighters gathered at Capsule Corp. They said goodbye to Tapion. Tapion got into the time machine. He waved. He looked happy. The time machine vanished. Gohan stood there, holding the sword. He had a new weapon. He had a new scar on his back, and he had a new understanding of his power. His divinity was a magnet for evil, yes, but it was also the only thing that could stop that evil. He had to be strong. He had to be the light in the dark. But as the group celebrated, Gohan felt a sudden sharp pain in his chest. He dropped the sword. He fell to his knees. He coughed. Blood came out of his mouth. It was not red blood. It was purple. Goku ran to him. "Gohan, Gohan couldn't breathe. His vision blurred. He felt like his insides were burning. The fire breath from Hirudegan. It wasn't just fire. It was a poison. A demon poison that infected the soul. And because Gohan's soul was mixed with Kai energy, the reaction was violent. His body was rejecting his own power. Piccolo checked Gohan's pulse. He looked terrified. His ki, it's fighting itself. The mortal half and the divine half are tearing each other apart. Gohan collapsed completely. He was unconscious. His skin turned pale. His breathing was shallow. Goku looked at Whis. Whis, do something. Whis looked serious. He floated over. He tapped his staff on Gohan's chest. A green light scanned Gohan. Whis frowned. This is troublesome. The demon poison has destabilized the fusion of his energies. If we do not stabilize him, he will cease to exist. His body will disintegrate. How do we save him? Videl screamed, tears running down her face. Whis looked at the sky. There is only one place that deals with spirit instability, the spirit world. We must take him to King Yemma, but not just Yemma. We need to go deeper, to the Grand Kai's planet. Goku picked up his son. Gohan felt light, too light, like he was fading away. Goku looked determined. Let's go, right now. The battle with the monster was over, but the battle for Gohan's life had just begun, and in the shadows of the spirit world, an old enemy was waiting, an enemy who knew everything about science and hell. The screen fades to black as the sound of a heart monitor beeping slowly fills the silence. Beep, beep, beep. The divine beast is fallen. The journey into the afterlife begins in the next episode.